Now our next presentation is on again green hydropower related things, that experiences to implement green hydropower standards in Austria, merging policies with the interest of hydropower operators. It is by Mr. Peter. He is from Vorarlberger, Illwerke, Austria. So Austria is very famous for its beauty and very, very long experience in hydropower, and they are really very much advanced in greening hydropower. So we will be happy to listen to your experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, a good afternoon from my side. Now, I would like to give you a short overview about experiences to implement green hydropower standards in Austria, because I think Austria has a very high level on standards, and it's not so easy to merge the policies with the interests of hydropower operators. And so I would like to give you an overview about the process of this. But first off, I would like to give you a short overview over the development of hydropower and also of the obstacles of the further development. Also, what is the energy transition in Middle Europe, and what are the effects on the energy prices from this? And last not least, the process, or the mutual process between all the stakeholders. That's ministry, that's operators, that's also NGOs, and so on. Okay, now here you see that's the development of hydropower in Austria, and you see in the middle of the 18th there is a drop down of the development. What's happened there? Now, since this time we have I think an increasing of small hydropower in Austria, because small is beautiful, and with small we can do everything. That was the meaning of the population. Now, on the next slide, you see it was very important the secure electricity supply, but on the other side, you see there we have environmental protection against those up. It was Hamburg, 1984. It was a very big hydropower plant on the river Danube, and we had a lot of people against this project. And so this was the reason why we have an increasing of the development of hydropower in Austria, and also another thinking about green energy. Now, the next one is we started also in 2000 with the River Basin Management Plan. It's based on the Water Framework Directive, and I think the policy targets are the good ecological status or the good ecological potential in all natural fish habitats, in all river stretches. It means that we have a prohibition of deep-tier orientation. And it is, we have to improve the river stretches. And the first mitigation measures, it was since 2009, from 2009 to 2015, mitigation measures about continuity, residual water, and also improvement of morphology. And so I will say you, that's only a small catalog about all the continuity of all our hydropower plants. It is possible to find it in the website. I will give it afterwards in the literature. But this is a map with nearly 200 million euros investment costs between the last 3 to 4 years. Now we have to do the next choice. The next choice is the second river basin management. But what will happen? Now, the next is also the energy transition in Germany. Energy transition means that the renewables should increase immediately, should increase to 80% of the whole energy until 2050. And on this, you see, on 2015, in Germany we have nearly 100,000 megawatt installed capacity, only solar and wind. And I talk about Germany because Austria is also responsible for the residual load also for Germany. Because Germany has very less hydropower, but Austria has a lot of hydropower. So this diagram, I think I showed you this diagram 1 year before, also here in China. Here you see that the light green line, that's the installed capacity. Meanwhile, we have the installed capacity about 100,000 megawatt. The green line here is only the energy from the renewables, and the red one, that's the demand. And now that's the question, what should we do in future with the residual load between? If we increase all the renewables until this part, then we have a lot to do with the residual load, and I will show you now a diagram. It was in 2012 from our plants from Vorarlberger Illwerke. Here you see we have the red one is turbining and the green one is pumping. And you see that's all at the same time, because pumping and turbining, for a pump you cannot regulate a pump. A pump is a digital instrument, and a pump is on or it is off. So in the negative part, in the pump mode, you have to regulate the pump with the turbine in a hydraulic shortcut. So that's the reason why you have at the same time turbine and pump together. And you see, if we would like to go 4 years later, that's an absolutely actual diagram, because with the increasing of the renewables in Germany, you see there we have more peaks in turbining and also maximum peaks in pumping. The basis is the whole capacity of pump. But you see here also holes, and that will be the future if we go to renewable energy. Where is the end? I don't know. Now, the next effects from the river basin management are the river continuity. I said to you, fish passes nearly cost 200 million euros, and we have losses of nearly 0.5 terawatt hours. Also, residual water, that's the next. In Austria, we have their losses from 1.8 terawatt hours. I think that's an average. It belongs to the ministry. It may be that it can go until 2.8 terawatt hour. You see, that are very huge values. And the next, the next one is from the second to the third river basin management. That's also the reduction of hydro peaking. And there I will go in this example to hydro peaking, R&D studies of hydro peaking. The next one will be bed load regime and so on, and morphological measures. In our recent studies, we found out that we have losses in flexibility, and flexibility you need for the residual load. We have restrictions. If we get some restrictions in operation, we have losses of nearly 400 to 4,000 million euros per year. That's nearly until to 4 gigawatt losses. I think that's absolutely huge. And on the other side, you see that maybe that we have to produce another, for example, coal or other power plants, 8 million tons CO2 if we should reduce hydro peaking. Now, so that's the reason why the operators wish to implement the mitigation measures with a sense of proportion. Otherwise, we have a clear trade-off between these river basin management plans and the climate targets. And I think that's absolutely necessary. How to do this? Now, The next one is also the prices. I heard this also from the States. You have also very low prices, and you see that are absolutely actual. We are nearly at 20 euro per megawatt hour with the prices. With these prices, it's nearly impossible to operate a hydropower plant. Now, what are the reasons of this? The reasons are subsidies, very huge subsidies for renewables like solar, like wind, and also small hydro. Subsidies for large hydros are not available. And the other reason, for example, in Germany we have subsidies of nearly around 23 billion euros a year. The whole market of energy is nearly 70 billion euros a year. So you see how huge these subsidies are. And the next is the CO2 certificates are nearly on zero. So you see the energy, you see that with our energy in Middle Europe, with the transition, we push with this the coal-fired plants and not hydropower. Because hydropower have to do mitigation measures. That's absolutely necessary. And now, what can we do to find a good solution for mitigation measures? That's the status quo. You see hydropower, discontinuity, only 10% from hydropower. Morphology, I think that's not the case of hydropower, but that's the case for flood protection and so on. That's residual water, that are the run-of-river plants, and also hydro peaking. Now, but what's the beginning of all this? Everyone has his meaning, and we have a lot of personal aspects. On the one side, you have the ministry. On the other side, you have the operators. And on the third side, you have NGOs and so on. And now you have to find a common solution. I think that's one of the best ways. You said it also. And now we should have a process of understanding. I think that's absolutely necessary, but that's not necessary, that's not possible within 1 year. You need for this process of understanding 5 to 10 years. And now today I'm here also as a delegate from the ministry, because we have found together this process of understanding, and we have found also yet some solutions against hydro peaking. So the next one is this, the first was a case study about hydro peaking with Professor Schmutz and also with Veronika Koller-Keimel, you know this. And we have done additional studies because no one knows anything about the hydro peaking. What does hydro peaking force in the riverbed and also in the ecology? So this was one of the first very big studies. Then the next studies are also that we merge hydro peaking projects. A lot of hydro peaking projects were done in Switzerland, in Germany, in Austria, everywhere. And so we merged this, a lot of these projects to the last project, to the recent project. It is now running, and we will find an end at the beginning of next year in this project. And here you see the contract program and also the timetable. That's the beginning, the preparation and completion of the previous knowledge of the hydro peaking. And now we are on the evaluation based on impacts of economy and climate policy targets on the one side, and on the other side we have also the evaluation based on impacts of aquatic ecology. So you see, on the one side we have the evaluation of the economy, also the whole economy, and on the other side you have the ecology. And in the last project that started, I think 1 month ago, with the cost-benefit analysis about this. A moment. And now that's, I think that's the basis of the methodology for mitigation measures. I think that should be clear that if we have low economical effects but very high ecological effects, then we should do this immediately. But if we have only low economical effects and also very low ecological effects, we have to think about this. And it is also possible that we have very low ecological effects and very high economic effects. Please eliminate this. And so I think that's the understanding between the ministry and also the operators and also with the NGOs. For example, here you see one, that's a hydropower plant, it's a project. We have in the river Regenzach, there is a lot of hydro peaking, and it is possible to build a new hydropower plant direct to the Lake of Constance. So you eliminate completely the hydro peaking in this river stretch. But the costs are immense, and at this time, with these low costs on the market, it is not possible to find an investment. But it may be that also subsidies are a solution about this. So I would say this project is secondary, would bring a lot of economical effects, but it's very, very expensive. And next one is also, you have here a hydropower plant with the water back to the river, and here you see that's a balancing reservoir. Balancing reservoirs are very cheap, I think so. Operational costs are very high. So I think that is one of the priority. And on the other side, it's also possible for widening of the river. I think the costs are very low and the ecological effects are very high. And so that's balancing between highest ecological benefit and lowest economic costs, but we have also to regard the CO2 production. I think that's also absolutely necessary. If you have no flexibility, we cannot reduce CO2. And on the other side, we have additional examples of prosperous corporations for sediment management, downstream fish passage, and also an integrative planning of mitigation measures with all the stakeholders. And my last slide is a picture of this integrative workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matt. Your excellent presentation, and we all know that Austria is the leading country in terms of building hydro, and the amount of time and resources you have spent preparing all this kind of report, study, international society is getting benefit out of your expenses. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now.